is the landing page that the students come to when they first enter NetTutor. So they see all the subjects that we support, and then they choose which subject they need some help with. And then, so I'm going to start off with math. And so then when I click the math room, I'm taken to this group view. And so at the top of every group page will be the schedule for live tutoring. And for math, we provide tutoring 24 hours a day, every single day of the year. That's from pre-algebra through advanced calculus. Below the schedule are the various options that I have to receive tutoring. First will be a tutor. So this tutor is live right now. And the tutor with the shortest wait time will always be displayed. So Corey's not currently working with somebody, so he's showing up in this room. To join a tutor's room, I just click on it, and then the whiteboard will open up. And so I can see he has some instructions on how to submit a question in case it's a student's first time. Whenever I want to ask my question, I click Ask a Question. The whiteboard goes blank, and then I can click anywhere and begin typing. So I'll do something simple. So this is the main way that the tutor and the student will interact. They type back and forth on the whiteboard. I can also freehand draw by holding down the left mouse button, so I can draw a fraction like this. And then along the left-hand side are some subject-specific tools. I'm in a math room, so I get math tools. Chemistry, accounting, English composition all have their own tools that just make it easier to talk about the subject on the whiteboard. So instead of having to freehand draw a fraction, I can select the fraction tool, place it where I want on the whiteboard, enter the numerator and the denominator, and I get a nice clean fraction. So these tools are very easy to use. Students get the hang of them quickly. If they have any questions about them, then tutors are more than happy to show them how the various tools work as well. So I can spend as much time as I need forming my question, and then once I'm ready, I just click Submit Your Question, and then I'm taken back into Corey's queue, so I can see I'm first in line. He will get to my question in a few moments. So he just accepted my question, and then the general flow of the session is I haven't shown any work, so he's going to ask me to show some work, and then he'll figure out where I'm getting stuck, and then what the best process would be to help me become unstuck. The tutors will guide students by asking lots of questions. It's a Socratic method. They never provide answers to students. They'll simply help the student get to the answer themselves. So I can see he's asking me if I have a specific problem, but I'm not going to bother him too much so that other students, actual students, can get to him. But the live tutoring methodology will be the same for all subjects we support. It's just obviously the content on the whiteboard would change a bit based on the subject. So we won't provide answers to students. We help them get to the answer themselves, so that they can, on a quiz or a test, they'll know what to do when they encounter that sort of problem again. In addition to the live tutoring, we have a Q&A center, which is an asynchronous version of the whiteboard that I just showed you. So it's the exact same interface. There's just not a tutor on the other end of it. So I can ask my question, and then a tutor will get to it in a little bit at a later time. And so then I can come back and retrieve the tutor's response. This is great for students who don't have time for a live session because they're rushing off to class or to work, but they still have a question they need some help with. They can submit it through the Q&A center, and usually before they get back home, the tutor will have responded. Once a tutor responds to the student's question, the student receives an email, and they can come back and retrieve the tutor's response through the Q&A center. If they need to, they can ask a follow-up question from there, or they can join a live session and continue the discussion live at that point. There are a few other options in here. The tutorial archive is kind of frequently asked questions area. So So common questions that come up can be placed in the archives. They're specific to this group. So tutors can place samples sessions on how to how to work common questions that students have. There's a Java test that runs automatically the first time students enter NetTutor, and they can also run it whenever they want by clicking on this link. This just makes sure that they have the latest version of Java, because that's required to run the whiteboard. And then there's a manual that explains the various modes of tutoring that we provide and how to get the most out of NetTutor. So then, in addition to the live tutoring and the Q&A center, we have another mode of tutoring that is the paper center. So students can submit their papers for review, and it's not just for English composition. We support writing across the curriculum. So business reports, lab reports, technical writing, any of that can be submitted to the paper center for review. So whenever I enter the paper center, I see a list of all the papers that I have. I haven't submitted any right now, but I can submit a paper by clicking on Submit Your Paper. And then a form opens up with some questions that I can answer to provide a little bit more information about myself and my assignment. Have I taken an English course before? Is English my second language? I can give the style of the paper in case I need help with citations and references, the type of paper, as well as a due date, and then I get to actually describe it in any particular goals that I have. I can give the required length, and then I get to choose 2 areas for specific feedback. So if I know that I need help with my thesis statement and my citations, I can select those 2 areas. The tutors review the entire paper. They point out issues throughout, make comments, and then afterwards they will address the 2 areas of concern. They'll summarize their feedback and address those 2 areas, go into some detail on what I can do to improve them, not just in this paper, but what I should be looking out for in future writing as well. And then I simply title the paper, browse to wherever it is on my computer, and click Upload. Once I have uploaded my paper, it will appear in this list. And then once a tutor has reviewed the paper, I can receive an email. I can come back to the Paper Center and retrieve the paper as a PDF so that I can print it out or save it to my computer and refer to it as I'm making any necessary changes that the tutor suggested. I'm going to pause the screen sharing really quickly so that I can go grab a sample paper. So just hold tight for a second. Okay, sorry about that. So papers are returned as PDFs, and so students have to take the PDF, refer to it to make the suggested changes that the tutor has provided in their feedback. The tutors will point out issues. They use standard proofreading symbols. They point out when students do something correct as well, and they ask questions to get students thinking about their writing. The tutors won't cross out a sentence and rewrite it for the student. Instead, they just provide suggestions for how the student could improve it. And in general, they'll point out only the first 1 or 2 occurrences of each issue, instruct the student to look for similar issues throughout the rest of their paper. This is the summary that the tutors would provide, so where they'd greet the student, thank them for submitting, provide some constructive feedback to encourage their writing, and then they'd address the 2 areas of concern that the student indicated. In this case, the student wanted help with organization and thesis statement, but those 2 areas were actually in pretty good shape, so the tutor instead focuses on some lower order concerns, particularly run-on sentences, because that's where the student was really struggling in this case. If students have any questions about their reviewed paper, they can come back to the writing group, and they can join a live session and discuss the paper with a tutor there, because the tutor can pull up the reviewed paper and help them out with any questions they might have. Or if a student has questions about the writing process, they're not sure how to cite a particular source or whether their thesis statement's strong enough, they can join a live session for that as well and discuss those topics with the tutor live. So those are the three modes of tutoring that we provide: the live tutoring, the Q&A Center, and the Paper Center. And so all of these subject areas would have live tutoring, and the Q&A Center, while writing is limited to the Humanities and Writing Lab group, so that's where students go to submit their papers. So that's really about it for the modes of tutoring in NetTutor. So tell you a little bit about who our tutors are, just so you can have an idea of who your students would be interacting with. All of our tutors work from our office in Tampa, Florida. The majority of them are full-time salaried employees. This is not something that they do a few hours a week. They all hold at least bachelor's degrees in their area of expertise, although many of them do have master's or doctoral degrees as well. They must pass a very rigorous subject area exam. If they do well on that, we'll bring them in, train them not just in how to use our software, but in best practices of online tutoring as well. Because even though most of them have prior tutoring or teaching experience, providing assistance online is a completely different experience. Don't have, in most cases, you won't have body language, tone of voice, facial expressions to rely on to come across as understanding and empathetic. So we make sure that they know how to do that when all they have is the text on the whiteboard. They are always under the direct supervision of either myself or my tutoring managers, coordinators, and lead tutors, so that we can make sure we're providing a great service to your students. Having all of our tutors in one location, even though we provide online tutoring, has some benefits. They have access to a library of textbooks and course materials. We have most of the textbooks that the students would be using, so we can refer directly to the problem that they are working in, for example. It's also a very collaborative environment. Tutors aren't stuck on their own. They get to interact with each other, to learn from each other. It's a continuous, they're building up their skills continuously, learning new ways to assist students, new strategies for working with students. So it's a really great environment for the tutors compared to working from home on their own. So we think that it's a really great way to provide online tutoring for students. So are there any questions about anything that I've shown? I know there's a Q&A. Okay, here's a question. When a student submits a paper for feedback, how long does it typically take the tutor to return the paper back to the student? So when I go in here, up at the top of in the writing group, it tells students to expect up to 48 hours. We do that mostly to manage their expectations, though. We don't want them submitting a paper 5 hours before it's due to their instructor, hoping to get it back in that time. So we tell them 48 hours, but our average turnaround time is 20 hours. So we tell them 2 days and get it back to them within a day, usually. Thank you for that question.
Thanks for the question, Jeremy. So you're welcome to put your questions in the Q&A panel. If you have a microphone connected to your computer and you have a longer question that you would like to speak into your microphone, you can also try that. And if you want to do that, you can raise your hand by clicking that hand raise feedback button underneath the list of participants in the participants panel. Otherwise, go ahead and type them into the Q&A panel and we'll get to them. Just curious, how many of you know that your students are using NetTutor in the courses that you're currently teaching? You can hit that green check mark if you know if they are, or if you're referring it to them. You can hit that red X if you have not used NetTutor if you don't think your students are using it. Cool, so kind of an even mix.
That's great. We definitely see a lot of, in writing, students needing help with their references, definitely. And if they've never had to do research papers before or papers where they have to actually cite sources, it can be very confusing for them. So we do see that a lot.
Well, we can definitely hang out here and answer your questions. If you all have any questions for us, you want to hang out and think of some, we can be here for a few minutes to answer them for you. Something you wanted to share with us, Zach?
I don't have anything else right now. One thing that I do want to note, this is free for your students. The CCCO pays for this, so it's something that's provided free of charge to the students. So may students from another college, such as Arapahoe Community College, use this system. Any students who have access to CCCOnline will have access to NetTutor. We're not currently working with any of the actual schools, so any students who are taking courses in CCCO will have access.
Thanks for asking that question, Mary.
Yeah, I just noticed Jeremy mentioning that it's great that our tutors are full-time. We really think so too. It's you know, if you're only doing something 4 hours a week, like other tutoring companies will do, then you're not really being immersed in it. So, and we have a lot of our tutors who are fresh out of college, or they've been in a master's program, and they really they'll say, I'm really practicing stuff I haven't done in a while, so it's really great to keep me fresh, and I know that my skills are getting stronger from doing this.
Jeremy actually posted another question there. He was asking if we could see that list of subjects one more time.
Yeah, you should be seeing it right now.
Oh, okay, right.
Yep.
Are you able to see that, Jeremy? Or is that not showing up for you? It should be shared on the screen right now for you.
Yeah, so I can go over it. These are broad subject areas, so we support just about every topic that would fall under these as well. So our tutors, we have very diverse population of tutors. My writing tutors aren't usually just English composition majors. They're history majors or psychology majors, sociology majors, and so on. So so we can cover a whole bunch of different areas that students would be studying.
Hey, we really appreciate you taking the time to show this to us, Zach. Like I said, we'll hang out here and answer questions if you guys want to stick around and ask any as they come to your mind. Otherwise, if you need to take off, you're welcome to do that. We really appreciate you coming and learning a little bit more about our online tutoring service.
Yeah, thank you very much for showing up today. I'm sorry about the delay in getting started. Computer issues sometimes pop up whenever you least want them.
Yeah, that's okay. We're just glad that we got you connected.
Thank you very much for your questions. Yes, they can. So the question is, if student needs to write in the discussion forum in class in APA format, so it's not a paper, can they still use the Writing Center? And of course they can. If they just need to write it out in a Word document or something like that, they could post it to the Paper Center, and we'd review that too. That's also something, if it's a shorter discussion topic, it's not a full page worth of sentences, then they could also join a live session to talk about that. We won't review a whole paper, for instance, live, but if there's a paragraph or so that the student needs help with, we're happy to do that live as well as through the Paper Center. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
We have one question here in the chat window from Penny, who is asking if there's a limit to how many times students can use the survey.
We don't have, I don't believe CCCOnline has set a limit to how many times students can use it, so they're free to continue to use it as they need to.
Sorry, Penny? Always ask people just to post in the Q&A panel. When there's a lot more people in session, sometimes it can make a difference, but we've just got a few people here, so we can spot your questions there in the chat panel too.
Okay, so question about does it detect plagiarism? We do not run the papers through Turnitin or something like that beforehand, but the tutors are trained to look out for plagiarism, and so if they notice that, if it looks unintentional, then the tutors can, provide some information to the student. Make sure that you're citing direct sources using quotation marks. You should probably consider paraphrasing and citing that anyway, because you shouldn't use too many direct quotes. If it's just blatant plagiarism, then the tutors will they'll stop reviewing the paper there, provide some information on plagiarism, how to avoid it, that it's a very serious thing. And discontinue the review of the paper. Thank you. Yeah, we generally don't see much trouble with plagiarism, at least not overt, blatant plagiarism. There's always cases where students forget to cite a source, and so we make sure to remind them that's a very important thing to do. The link to NetTutors is going to be found within. I don't have my client list here with me. Blackboard, isn't that what your LMS, Sean?
We are a Desire to Learn.
Desire to Learn. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Desire to Learn. It's found within Desire to Learn. It should be within each course. I haven't looked at the way that it's integrated into Desire to Learn very recently, so I'm a little bit rusty on that.
I'm going to log in here and see if I can find. I'm not sure if I know exactly where it is, but I'm just gonna poke in there real quick and see if I can find it. So I'll let you know.
Yeah, it's found within the course. There's going to be a tools type of area within each course, and there should be a link to NetTutor in there.
Okay, yeah, so it's going to be right on the home page in your course. and it will be, actually, Zach, do you mind if I grab your screen sharing real quick just to
Sure,
show
go
this
ahead.
to folks?
Yeah.
Let me bring this over to the correct window over here. So are you guys seeing that D2L screen that I'm sharing with you? Cool. So it's just going to be on the right side of your home page in D2L here. And if you scroll down, you're going to see NetTutor right here under helpful links. So, and don't confuse that one with our online tutoring lab, which is kind of our own really small version of this. We have a couple of our instructors that we employ who have specific hours that they're in to help students answer questions for certain types of classes. So the online tutoring lab, or the OTL, is CCCOnline's online tutoring. NetTutor right down here is the 24-hour-a-day service that we're looking at here today.
Yes, that will be in every course as well. As the question, is it in every course? It'll appear there for every course.
It's about 1:45 here. Again, if you guys want to take off, you're welcome to do that. We really appreciate you coming and joining us today. If you have any other questions, you can post them in our Q&A panel in our chat. Again, we appreciate Zach taking the time to come in and show us this stuff today. And we hope you all remember to share this resource with your students, because it's definitely something that can be really helpful for them. Thanks for joining us, Penny. Also, this session was recorded, so I'm going to be putting it in our webinar archive. So if you want to come back at any point to review what we looked at today, you can do that in our webinar archive, and it should be up by early next week. He's taken off, so thanks again, Zach. We really appreciate it. And
no problem.
Yeah, no worries about being a little late. Everybody was really patient, and no harm done there.
Good. Thank you very much for this opportunity again. It's always great to present to the faculty.
Yeah, definitely. Probably, I have it recorded, but it might be something we definitely would want to do again if you don't mind.
No problem. I'm definitely always up for it.
cool. Well, we're always getting new instructors, so I'm sure there's always folks out there who would like to see it again.
Yep. Okay, great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care, Zach.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.